Welcome back. Here we go. Match point for both teams now. Whilst it was all in Ion's control to actually win out that series, get it done 2-0 and have a fantastic night's sleep, now they've got to run it down in a third situation and figure out, all right, what was the difference, what was the issue, and what do we need to rectify now, Tally?
Yeah, I think that, it's just as it is game 3 of the best of 3, right? This is everything on the line, winner take all, loser gets nothing. It's going to be about, Direwolves taking away what worked for them in game 2 and Ion taking away what worked for them in game 1. They want to refine those drafts and, get the best of both worlds, okay? So they want to, not have the case in game 2 where they had no agency when they fell behind. They need a lot more consistency because the most important thing is, there's a lot of pressure with this game, right? So they want to have, some control. They want to have scaling. So I expect to see, we're going to see some Ezreal priority, but double AD carry bans is a different look. Okay, we didn't see the Ashe being banned last time, so this might be an Ezreal in response, or it could just be the Zyra again.
Well, this is the difference, right? The fact that you've dropped the Karthus ban to mean that the Ashe takes priority, force Katsura into something a little bit different. We still know that his best champion, his favorite champion, would be that of the Aphelios, but no changes whatsoever from Dire. Was very content on the red side, very keen with their prep, and that is interesting. Straight out the gates, I say, you know what? We banned the Ashe, we'll take your Sejuani. Now what? Yeah,
so they banned out the 280 carries they believe that Katsura is having this really well known for, having good performances on in this series and in recent weeks. They take away the Sejuani, which looks so good in game 1 and game 2, but the Ezreal they believe isn't a contested pick, so this is probably, I'd say Ezreal's their highest priority or Ion's highest priority, and the fact they aren't picking it and leaving it to go for 2-3, it really means that Direwolves on the line right now. It's like, oh, do we need to take this champion away? Like, can we allow him to have it? I don't have that Ashe counter this time. There's no Kai'Sa counter. What is Katsura going to pull out? Because we all know Aphelios just does not have a good time into champs that outrange him so heavily.
Yeah, so if the gun swapping cycling doesn't work out in your favor, it feels pretty rough. They're going to go for the Orianna. Not reveal the Nocturne just yet, but say you have to have the Ezreal denied and make sure that if you're going to make me uncomfortable, Styx, I'm going to return that favor right back at you. I know there's still a world in which you're thinking, where is the Ziggs? 1 from 2 now in terms of what we wanted to get. Surely still on the cusp of being locked on in. But you'd imagine that this is going to be a confirmed lock-in here for Jovi, the Corki. Despite not winning and despite probably having his weakest performance this split in its entirety, we still have seen so many great things from him on it.
Now, also, this is a double-edged sword, Kimmy. So, with the Ezreal being taken away and Ashe and Kai'Sa being banned in response by or banned from Ion beforehand, these are Styx's answers to the champ as well, right? We think about his champ pool. This is what he has played when the Ezreal has been taken or banned from himself. So, what is he gonna play here? As they do prioritize the Leona, they don't want to allow that combo to come out, but there is the potential for that, the Braum to come forward. This is a champ who has been so strong into Leona. Such a strong champ with that Ezreal, so are they going to go for the engage? Do they want to play in Nautilus, or do they want to play more disengage? Because they do have the range advantage, right? That's the nice thing about the Ezreal, is that he can play this solo, poke champ in the mid game where you have to engage onto him, or else he's just creating too much space, too much volatility in those objective setups.
Is there a world though, Tally? Is there a world in which we run it back and say, sure, you can have your Ezreal, we've outbanned ourselves of our 2 champions in the AD department, brand Leona. Surely there's a world in which you can say we've got so much engage that if you look to try and go wombo combo again, the brand, even from the grave, is going to destroy you all.
The one thing when it comes to the mages in the bot lane is you want to punish these immobile champs like Aphelios, like the Ashe, like the Jinx, right? Because it's so easy to do your damage. But Ezreal outranges pretty much every single champ in the game, especially the mages, and you do not have any damage output when you can cast spells on your enemy. So, whereas, Brand is a good laner, it's very hard to get onto the Ezreal, and he just feels, no threat, and that's going to be the only AD threat onto him, probably going to be the Corki. I personally would like to see a Camille come out of Doraemon. We have seen him play that one. A good matchup with the Ornn, good pairing with the Camille, and it is that lockdown to really deal with this Ezreal who can have so much mobility.
That's exactly right. I mean, how many times have we seen in the past that Camille zigs, right? And it was like, you cannot escape this ring, and then you're also just going to get one shot by the Inferno Bomb. Back to throwback, and then once again, I'm just trying to, push the agenda. Come on, boys, lock that one in. Make Tally happy. Rumble and Zeri denied away from Direwolves. They say, yeah, we see your Ori. Nocturne, it's gone. Zen, probably your second best option. Are we now leaning towards like a Vi, perhaps?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ion, this could potentially be that Sedge top lane for Doraemon himself. This player has played so many different champs in the top lane, so if they do want to go for something that is point-and-click lockdown, there is the Vi, there is the Camille, there is, options they can take away, but I'm still curious to see what Styx is going to play here, because I think that if they do go for a carry in the top lane like Camille, he is sort of forced to play that AP variant in the bot lane, but if they do want to go for the AD carry standard, then maybe they have to look for an AP option in the jungle or the top side to really round out this comp.
We've got a bit of time then to deliberate over this decision and say what is the draft, what is our own form of Exodia that keeps us in this tournament, fighting on through the lower bracket and praying, hang on. Oh my god, it's happened. It's happened.
Camille.
In the same draft, no less, Sejuani and Ziggs. Oh, and a Camille. GG, come on.
GG.
Come on, boys.
It's
Tell me this is not Exodia.
It's Exodia, Skimmy. They have the hyper carry in the mid lane. They have the double front line. They have one of the best solo AP carries in the game, whereas his matchup isn't that good into Ezreal. Who cares? When you throw out the Hexa Elemental on him, pair it up with that Mega Inferno Bomb, you're dead. Easy as that.
You really are dead, and it means it's going to patch up all those weaknesses when it comes to the objectives, where they're standing on the outskirts and going, what can we do? We just have to cop this Orianna Nocturne combo and cry about it, really. Cry about it a lot. Kindred, though, is a nice little response with the Lamb's Respite there to try and nullify those one-shot combos that will be coming out from Ion. And it's just going to be a case of timing. Timing is always the pesky part about playing Kindred.
I would say this is probably one of the best 5Ps that Divers could really come up with. They need to deny this, super engaged coming out of Ion and make sure that their, Orianna and Ezreal can survive the Camille when she does die, because that's what Camille's all about. You're throwing out that Lance Respite, sparing your teammates the really punishing engage that Ion is going to throw out and buying some time to allow Ezreal to reposition when that Hexa ultimatum does drop. And I'm really curious what this laning phase is going to look like, because Ziggs is a champion who, can neutralize lanes, but does have the potential to be bullied in early game if you do play the, the movement in the lane really well, because a lot of his damage can be avoided, but he is a strong champion at the same time.
Incredibly strong champion. I think above all else is the fact that both these champions are going to be self-sufficient, so we should see a lot of activity from Shinky and Hexflash outside of the bot lane, able to try and impact elsewhere. And I think we're going to see even more action towards the mid lane in particular. I'd imagine, unless they really want to try and get Doraemon ahead or put Doraemon behind, I would imagine mid lane is going to be the highway to success. Make sure that both these scaling carries can be a factor, because Orianna did wonders. Emphas quietly achieved, linked up nicely there with Mayfan. And it's a chance for Coley to showcase, well, I can play the Sejuani too, and Joe to say, give me some extra resources. I'm being bullied here. I'm not able to replicate what I did up against Ground Zero this time last night. It's do or die for both of these teams. One will be sadly eliminated after this match. And without any side selection differences, both teams gunning that blue side is better for Ion, red side that much better for Direwolves. And a chance to see, with all these adaptations, game 3, will it deliver?
Yeah, and I'm really curious to see, as this is a game where everything is on the line, are we going to see that same aggression that we have been seeing throughout the the rest of the series? Is Jovi going to continue to play that Valkyrie forward Corki in the mid lane, or is he going to sit back, scale up? Are we going to see that different look from a player who is known for his aggression? There's also something to really note about this game, is the fact that Ezreal and Ziggs in the bot lane, which means both Shinky and Hexflash have so much freedom to move around the map. There's not a lot of kill pressure in that 2v2 for both sides, but both of them really good at clearing waves from sitting back, and the fact that these melee supports can roam, link up with, the Kindred, with the Sejuani, find kills onto the potential mid laners of both sides, is something to be really afraid about.
And there you have it, also with the Twitch fan vote. That's been as close as it has been all night. It started off at the top of the hour with, I believe, 87% going in Ion's favor, and now it's come down to a, split down the middle, 50-50. Certainly couldn't ask for much more than that. And something I always love about a Ziggs, right, is your satchel charge execution on those towers. Couple that with the Herald, which has been, for the most part, a priority of Ion to play towards that top half objective. They could do some serious structural damage early on.
Yeah, and moving your Ziggs around the map is also something very underrated. You don't max the satchel charge on Ziggs as a second spell anymore. You do want to go for that Evis, because it's just a lot more valuable. And that extra percent that you will get on the satchel charge execution, necessarily not worth it most of the time. It's very niche, but you do want to, find some scenarios to move your Ziggs around and use that, free time you can use the proc passive on the turrets. But this is what I was talking about, Skimmy. When you do not run those combat summoners, you are quite susceptible to, all-ins in the early game. But the one nice thing about this champ is, because you do have TP, you do have sustain, and with that, Ignite and Cleanse being down for the enemy team, they're not going to find that same engaged or all-in threat again.
That's exactly right. Yeah, everything's been built on their occasion. Double Flash still up there for the taking, but to say that, yeah, look, I can trade, I can expend literally everything, go back to base, get it all again, and you just can't match that is definitely a big boon this early on. So to survive the initial level 2 all-in, like you've seen time and time again, certainly puts them in good stead, and I'm sure there's going to be a few different mini games to keep a track of, right? Both how the Ziggs and the Ezreal can perform, but also how fed can Mayfan get? How many marks can he achieve?
Yeah, Coley going for the invade once again. Going to realize that, okay, Kindred is piling down, so with the priority on that mid lane, I have to see if he does want to invade the bot side of the Kindred. Quite a scary thing to do, though, just based on how much priority Divers does have. So I expect it's going to be clearing for both junglers right now in a much quieter early game than we've had in the past 2 games.
And the top lane is probably the biggest one of them all, because when we asked the identity of what Chang'e's top lane life wants to be like, you are sort of thinking, these Bruiser-esques, your Yones, your Yasuos, the Jaces even, right? And whilst the Jace didn't function anywhere nearly as well up in top as it would have done in mid, it is interesting to see that he's found himself in a situation like, you know what, I'll pick up the tank duty, let me get to level 13. These games have been going a fair distance where 4 or 5 items isn't unrealistic, so let's just get that slight economy edge.
Yeah, and one thing that I really like about the Ion comp over the Divers is the fact that they aren't one-dimensional, but I will hold my point as there is a gank coming out onto Styx who does not have flash this time.
Hexflash has nothing, and Styx only has that TP. Hexflash jumps and actually turns it around. Satchel charge to knock him back. They might actually have kill pressure here. Mayfan still wants to persist, and Coley's just about to get here, but not before First Blood's found here by Katsuri. Styx wants to answer back. Coley with the knock-up, Styx with the killing blow, and Shinky, Katsuri, that's forced to burn double summoners now, as it all came to a head down in the bot lane.
Yeah, that will be, 1-for-1 on both AD carries. Mayfan going to stay around because this is that, mark spawning on the crab. He really wants this one, but I think this is going to be an extended fight. If Styx does manage to get that teleport off and come back, he is going to be able to solve this one. But the Jovi, Valkyrieing in.
Classic Jovi, Valkyrie, Flash. I've got no mana. Do you think I care? Not at all, Telly. Not at all. Oh yeah, I guess I'm going to die here. My job's already been done. I've got the bells and the fireworks all going off in my name. And my team is sitting pretty.
No smite for Coley though, so going to be a toss-up on the skewer here. There might be a steal away from Emphist. They really do not want to kill this crab though. They want to allow him to get that mark, whereas Coley didn't have that smite if he can get in range, but...
Oh, cheeky little flash there. Just pounces upon Emphist, knowing that it's a 4-done deal. Jovi's going to TP back to lane and say, look, yeah, commit yourself to that play, get me more fed. Good guy Hexflash decides, you know what, I'll steal that one away, even without the usage of Summoner Ignite, but we're still going. We're yet to hit 5 minutes, and if we thought these teams were nervous, if we thought they're going to play passive, knowing that their elimination is on the line, we're sorely mistaken.
And a double TP from both Ziggs and Emphist, so they're back on the map, they're ready to fight. They do not want to get this crab. They want Coley to get the crab, or they want Mayfan to get the crab. The rest of the team, who cares, okay? They want the mark on the Kindred. They want to deny the mark and allow the jungler to get as much experience as possible. But, the major winner of all of this is Styx. We see that Katsuri blows double summoners, is chunked, is stuck in lane. Ziggs has already teleported, or Styx has teleported back with this full buy. Going to be able to keep this Ezreal in lane with this push advantage and just, get through the hardest part of the Ziggs, which is the early game.
Definitely sitting pretty, right? That tier's going to be stacked up that much quicker than that of Katsuri's. And also with the Dark Seal, if the fights continue to add on up, that's a nice cheetah tempo to get yourself a huge power spike leading into the mid-game. And it does keep us guessing as to where is the focus, because it's all been around the bot lane with everybody from mid getting drawn in. And no surprises, top lane left on an island where Doraemon's absolutely crushing it.
And this is going to be a dive onto Katsuri. Does not have the flash. Cleanses almost off cooldown, but, these Iron members are quite happy to trade 1-for-1 to deny their carry any farm.
Jovi's already here. He's already bent the Valkyrie. It's going to be too little too late for Emphist to interact, and Mayfan's already in the top half of the map. It's going to be a 2-for-1 so far. 2-for-2 with a denial. All things considered, not too bad, as Styx won't give across any gold, but maybe just a bit of XP.
Yeah, a messy dive for the side of Ion, but they still, accomplish their objective, right? They want to deny experience going into Katsuri, and they want to push the Ziggs to be as ahead as possible. Mayfan going to be the main winner here, picking up his second mark onto the Gromp here. So a very nice spawn for him, being enabled by Chang'e. This is going to probably come down to a smite fight, and Camille's collapsing, so this might be Mayfan going down.
It's looking pretty dicey. There goes the call of the Forge Guard. It doesn't matter. Mayfan's dead before it even happens. The Lamb's Respite just simply not there. Lockdown Chang'e with the Sejuani passive. Shinky rocks up, hits the Joust, and they want nothing to do with that. Back to the grubs that are up and available, but everybody's going for the reset.
And something that I was trying to mention before we had all this action going on Skimmy is the thing I like about the Ion comp is, he's not dying, there's no way. Okay, he's going to be able to go on, but something that I liked about the Ion comp is the fact that, they have the ability to side lane. They have the Corki and the Camille, as you look at the Direwolf side, and one of the keys to victories that we really brought up for this team was they need to avoid drafting one-dimensional comps that cannot side lane, right? So the Ornn and the Orianna are not going to be able to match up to their side lane counterparts, and I think that's a really big problem to deal with because Ion have brought themselves also a really strong team fight, so they just have multiple options to be able to attack the game. But here's the dive.
How do we navigate this one? Satchel Charge to try and break up the combo. Flash to try and follow. Satchel Charge comes out. Ignite, Flash, run away. Overcommitted. Out of tower range. Hex Flash rocks up. Zenithblade doesn't connect, but the idea was good because they're so far pressed that Jovi once again with the aggressive Valkyrie says, whoever dares stand up against me will perish. Katsuri's gone. Kill goes to the Corki. And it really is becoming a battle of which mid laner gets unleashed to roam first.
And that just always seems to be Jovi. Always seems to be the first on the map. He's pretty much playing the, Talia, Corki combination of the roaming hyper carry in the mid lane. So really good by him to make sure he's impacting the map and use his priority to take over the game. And we really see that being complemented by the tier 2 boost, but Hex Flash.
Ooh, that's kind of cute there for a second. You're thinking Hex Flash is a psycho. Then you go, it kind of makes sense. They don't get anything from it though. Shinky was able to hold onto his flash just with base mobility alone. Mayfant 5 seconds away from his phone flash, and Shinky looks to try and serve him up in a silver platter. They'll lock him down. It'll be a 1-for-1 with Ziggs and Kindred both to get the killing blows. And everybody else being told to just simply walk away.
Ooh, 2 tower shots landing on Dorimon there, so a bit of a one-sided trade there onto him. But still going to be him getting the priority in the top lane for pretty much this entire laning phase. This does not get better for Ornn in the 1v1. It's going to keep looking this way, which is, really nice if you're an Ion fan. You really want to have the same game state, but Coley over the wall.
Over the wall, hits them with the air ball. There's the headache, and there's Emphis thinking, I need to flash, I need to run, I need so much more. Shinky misses at point blank, and Jovi survives, quite fortunately enough for him. And the double tier stackers get to continue to farm away.
Yeah, and you would think that the team with the the tier component shouldn't be winning the early game, right? They shouldn't feel too comfortable in that laning phase because it's a very weak laning item. It just allows you to spam your spells, but it doesn't give you any real combat strength against something like a Lost Chapter. But this is just Jovi's prowess in the 1v1. He's doing very well, and Corki's base damage just allows you to build these defensive items. But a very heavy trade going on to Chungy. Coley's sitting in the back pocket. If you look at the map on for Dials, there is no one here to save this member who does not have any flash.
No one's here, no one's coming, no wave to protect him, and it will be trimmed out a little bit here, so Chungy's done a fantastic job of making sure that, yeah, I am susceptible, I have no flash, but you won't take me like that, and that's a phenomenal way for them to answer back elsewhere in the map, where it would have been a trade, but now it's just simply a win for Direwolves to claim first Drake.
This is the thing about Ziggs, they're looking for that dive, looking for that trade, but they just cannot get the wave under tower. He's just playing that level.
Oh! Big Satchel Charge actually almost caught Katsuri off guard there, but has the panic flash away to safety. Yeah, the player is, we are getting Dragon. Nobody else fall down. Play safe, guys.
Yeah, very aggressive arcane shift from Katsuri there. Almost catches himself, dead pretty much. Not really respecting the Satchel Charge knockback. It's a very underrated displacement, but the flash going down might mean we see some more 3v3 action happening on the bot side because Ziggs is quite strong, and when these, these Qs start landing, these bouncing bombs do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, this bot lane really does feel like skill shot simulator, doesn't it? Who can land more? Who has the better accuracy at this stage, right? We're not even playing League of Legends anymore. We've actually moved into Valorant. It's like land those headshots, get the game done.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. You land the headshots, that's where you do the most damage to me. So you land those you land those bouncing bombs, you land the mystic shots, you will get the kills. And Hex Flash looking for the trade, doesn't find the kill once again. But Coley is on the flank, and he is looking to steal away that blue buff once again.
He did take X-Flash on a bit of a magical journey with that arcane shift to safety, but as you say, Coley looking to be a bit of a menace, be a bit of a bully, and say, what are you going to do, Mayfun? I know you want me, you've got that mark active and ready, but I'm going to make you have to work for it, so you're going to have to settle for picking up your own blue buff right now. And you are starting to see, whilst there are some pretty significant CS leads for Ion, it is still Katsuri that takes charge of bot.
Yeah, and we are still continuing to see priority pretty much on the entire map for the side of Ion, and Coley invading all the time, and you would not think a Sejuani without the pairing of a melee mid lane is able to do this, but you are when you have so much priority on the map, and you're unable to respond on the weak side, which is the Ziggs, because he's just clearing these minions over and over and over again. And Ezreal is a champion who's just not necessarily insane at tower diving. Pair that with the Rel where you can outplay that with the Flash. He's going to get out there pretty safely, and there is no initial trade for the team of Direwolves right now.
It does feel like the common theme, right, that they do have the scaling tactics of a Corki and Ziggs that can delay, and buy time not only for them to scale up, but also to buy time for Dorimon to, be that split-pushing menace, because you mentioned it very early on. Who actually deals with this Camille? Because you're struggling to see, an Ornn able to contend with it, and you definitely don't want Emphis going there.
Yeah, I'm very afraid for Direwolves, who's going to deal with this Camille. They're going to need some higher power to really deal with this champion as the game does go on, because another thing to notice is while they do not have the the ability to side lane, they also sort of lack a bit of CC. Their their main peel tool is going to be Shinky, who wants to be, you know, locking up those crucial members to pair it up with the Orianna, pair it up with, you know, an Ornn combo. And if Chungi isn't there with his team, if he is on the side lane dealing with Doraemon, he's not going to be there initially to be able to knock up this Camille as she does go in. It's always going to be Doraemon being the initial TPer, being the engager, because he will have pride in the side lane.
And I do wonder that if it actually changes the game plan here for Direwolves, where they're sort of anticipating and respecting that, look, they're going to try and dive us with this Camille Ziggs combo time and time again. If it's not that, it's probably the Sejuani or the Leona. So instead of us trying to be proactive and diving at them, why don't we just play Protect and Peel, rally around this Lamb's Respite, and say, yeah, there is the Magnet Storm, there is the Shockwave. You know, have you finished? If you run out of cooldowns now, it's our time to answer back.
Yeah, that is pretty much what it's going to come down to. Direwolves need to, you know, stack up these dragons. They need to force the clock pretty much, where he's like, okay, we've got 2 dragons. We need to play for Soul Point. You know, as this cloud comes up, hopefully they can secure that and get 2 dragons, and then start, you know, accruing more towards that Soul Point and forcing the Ion to group up and fight them in the 5v5. But hold my point, because it's actually in the mid lane.
There certainly is. Glacier Prism misses, but it doesn't matter, because even with the Ziggs, he's got so much CC. The lockdown is unbearable, and a flash, it just wasn't available. The Shockwave is nice, but it's another kill going to Jovi, who's going to be feeling pretty inspired after that Game 2 performance. And it is, yeah, going to be a case of Mayfan saying, well, if you're getting the kill, I need to counter jungle, I need to become relevant.
Yeah, Emphis was trying to run to his Kindred to get the Lance Respite to buy him a bit of time, but Mayfan was in the middle of getting his mark, and as a Kindred has been denied quite a few marks, going to trade his mid laner for that one, secure himself the 3rd mark, looking for that 4th, that, you know, that major power spike of the Kindred where you do get the, I believe, the 75 extra auto attack range, was just such a big deal when you look at the enemy team of, you know, Corki, Ziggs, who just have such high range and such, you know, an easy job of dealing damage throughout this game.
Yeah, it certainly is pretty satisfying, right, to see a Kindred with like 10 stacks to the name, and they're just able to like hop through space and time. You're like, hang on a minute, like how's the champion able to outmaneuver any of these hypermobile AD carries, let alone these jungle matchups? But this is the scary point. We've touched on it briefly in the top lane. 25 CS lead. Doraemon's already got himself that Infinity Edge, rather the Trinity Force.
There you go.
And imagine Infinity Edge on Camille, that'd be crazy. Ooh. But, you know, already an absolute terror. Ravenous, you'd imagine, will be that next purchase. And at that point, their wave clear is pretty hard to beat in all 3 lanes.
Yeah, and it's just going to be, you know, the longer this game goes on, where it's just even game state, where nothing's really happening, Ion are getting more farm, right? It's always going to be waves answered off the turret, so there's always guaranteed 6 CS, 6, 7 CS every single wave. They're stealing away camps, they're getting the objectives, whereas they are giving this dragon, so this might be a win condition for Dials. If this is a good soul, you know, I think they're really looking for something like the Infernal. They need that, you know, the slow to really deal with this team. Mountain also something that's really good. You know, Hextech always really good because it's just a broken dragon overall. But as long as it isn't something like the Ocean or the Chemtech, I think they're completely fine with whatever they get.
But isn't it fascinating, right, Telly, the fact that we've had 3 games and these teams are so locked in on their own playstyle, be it the Dragon and the Herald. Here we go again, though, for a potential fight in the top lane. 1v1, both trading ultimates, both going to survive. So nothing really comes of it unless Coley wants to chuck out the snowball and see if he can connect. Decides against it in the end. But yeah, 6 grubs for Iron yet again. With all the sieging potential they have already, it feels so hard now that you especially had the Herald too.
Yeah, and Katsuri's done a really good job to force sticks off this tower. You know, I think that's a very rare thing that he was able to do. He's going to throw out his ult to deny any siege going onto his turret, and we see that Jovi is committing his teleport. So going to be Corki to cover the mid tower, and Ion are trading, you know, the objective for gold. You know, as Pike did mention on the in-between games talk, that they were looking for a lot more like Ground Zero, where they weren't prioritizing the objectives, that they cared a lot more about experience and gold and just overall map control. And this is, you know, the same story this game. They are just accruing a gold lead and experience lead just through their map play.
Let's see then how much it actually adds up to, because Joey, the one potentially under threat with a blast cone, may just reveal him. Instant panic flash, the joust stun will not land. And they had committed 3 members towards that play. The panic of forcing Doraemon's TP out as well to respond. This is not them saying, you tried to gank me, I'm glad I lived. This is a case of, no, we're now going to turn it around on you and try and catch you out of position in.
They found them.
The Herald will be summoned in the mid lane. The Dragon's not there. And they just look to rally up as 5 and push.
They're going to run it down mid though. They spot Special Agent Mayfan caught off on the bot side jungle, so he's forced to base, but there is 4 members in the mid lane. Ezreal does not have the wave clear to deal with the siege coming out here. There is no satchel for Sticks right now, so they're going to be able to take this one with pure, you know, auto attacks at this point.
If somebody hops in as a passenger there goes Doraemon. Potentially 3 charges unless... Unless we've got our driving license, and yes, we're never getting into the bot lane. Can we do it? Oh, the biggest U-turn. Oh, in the end, it's all disrupted.
It's not possible, but they did get the second charge off, and they do have the satchel to execute this one anyway, so they're going to be able to pick this tower up. So that's 2 inner towers and an outer tower going to the side of Ions. That's a lot of gold that they had just picked up, with at the same time Chungy side lane split pushing. This is not what you want to do, right? You want to group up as the Ornn, you want to fight, because no matter how much gold you get, how much you know, side lane pressure you have, you're never going to match the Camille. There is you know, he is getting experience, he's working towards those ornaments, which is a nice spike for his team, but he needs to be there to be that front line for his members to be able to, you know, match up to the threat that is coming out of the side of Iron right now.
Definitely could have gone from bad to worse though, right? I was anticipating a world in which you summon the Herald mid and say, look, we're just going to open up your inhibitor because you're split pushing with the Ornn, your Kindred's behind enemy lines looking to try and deny camps. How does an Ezreal deal with all of us going at you at once? And not to mention that, the fact is that the Miramana is not too far away from being completed here by Jovi, and Styx already at 357 stacks. So there is that, you know, big mid-game spike for them to find on their next purchase. And you're thinking, well, they're already up by 6k gold here, Skimmy. What is Direwolf's ticket back in? Because I don't know if that dragon is enough of a win condition anymore.
It's grouping up right now and making sure that when Ion do engage onto you, you are ready to respond. We see all 5 members of Direwolves grouped up in that top side jungle. If there is any engage coming out of the side of Ion, they're ready to respond with that Ornn ult, especially if they Valkyrie forward like this.
Let's see what they can find as a result. Colin not going to connect on his ultimate this time, but the Solar Flare certainly will. They'll find one by removing Chungy. The Call of the Forge God will only go one way. No station heading backwards. And Doraemon will lock 3 members in place by saying, you shall not pass. This is Iron really reinvigorated, saying we should not have lost game 2. You've caught us off guard. And it's back to regular scheduling.
It was just the Ziggs, Timmy. That's all it was. If they had Ziggs last game, they would have won as well. So you see that Chungy had a really quiet game. Haven't really seen his health bar be chunked too much, but has no magicness. Comes near Styx on the Ziggs in that fight and gets pretty much 100 to 0 by that, you know, 3-spell rotation coming out of the Ziggs. Death Cap being completed, gonna forego the Ceres because you want to sit on that tier as just that mana item. You don't really want to build, you know, double chapter items. But just watch Chungy's health bar just completely disappear in this fight as, you know, Ziggs damage lands on him. Just taking out the fight completely, and from this point, there is no frontline to deal with the dive threat and the AoE coming out of the comp that Ion have, you know, cooked up this game.
And they did hit the Ziggs Camille combo to a degree, not to perfection, but certainly showing you an indication of what it's able to do. And even if it did lock one person in place with Hexagon Medium, it almost felt like it was a Skarner and Pale, because it CC'd all 3 members saying, like, what do we do? Do we stand? Do we turn? Do we kill this Camille? Do we not? And now he's at the 2-item breakpoint with the Ravenous Hydro complete. You're thinking, you're not winning the 5v5s, you're not winning the split push. How in hell do Direwolves get back into this one? They need a team fight of their life.
I think Ion right now, they have all the gear and an idea, Skimmy. So, you know, they have the plans to be able to take down this game. They have the side lane priority. They have the ability to engage when they find that numbers mismatch. And they also have a lot of Baron threat from, you know, Camille herself is a champ who's really good at taking down this objective if Coley does want to take that one up. But this is the Ocean Dragon spawning, and if this is going to be a takeaway from Ion, that's the denial of that win condition. That was, you know, the only really major thing left for Direwolves right now. Besides that, they're relying on the enemy to make mistakes because they just do not have the agency to make proactive plays themselves.
Yeah, they found it very hard to try and break the ranks of Iron, haven't they, right? Only one tower being found. That was because of Chungy split pushing whilst the hero was summoned down the mid lane, where Iron found multiple structures. 6-1 in that regard. The map is just so free, in which Doraemon or Hexflash can look to roam and find some pressure. And as I said before, you need to have the team fight of your life. You need those champion bounties removed from all 3 champions in particular. You need some objective bounties also to help you out. And really hope that Iron make a blunder.
Yeah, and something to point out as well for Direwolves is this game doesn't really get better for you, right? You know, you could, you know, go to 6 irons versus 6 irons, but that is so unrealistic. You know, there is no way for you to reach that point in the game. So it's kind of at a point where they're forced to, you know, group up and look for proactive plays. You know, find out these members like Styx, who has no flash right now. Shinky has the flash. They do have the TP. They do have the Call of the Forge God. They need to be proactive. They need to find something on the map, because if they just keep answering waves and just, you know, abiding their time, these item gaps are going to continue to grow, and they will never find a winner to get back to the game.
Yeah, it's not looking too good at this stage, right? It really is the case of all the champions that needed a spike have yet to find it, lagging further and further. 2.5 items suddenly becoming 3. You're still sitting on 1 and a few components. Cheeky little ward there as our observers spot that one out. Just behind enemy lines, maybe a cheeky little flanking opportunity for the double TP. Actually, the triple TP from the side of Ion to find success with. But with the Baron being on the cards, and with Iron owning the majority of this map, surely it's a case now of sweeping, denying, and putting a bit of panic in the Direwolf's, comms.
Yeah, that's a really, really nice ward that the observers did point out. So Direwolves never feel pressured to walk in and face check the Baron. And Iron might feel a bit confused about what's going on here. How do they know that we're not on this objective? Why are they playing so safe? So they are on vision this entire time, and this might be the one time for Direwolves to strike because they do know where all members are on the enemy team. But Changi cannot get here because he is responding to Doraemon, and that's a scary thing.
Yeah, Doraemon's going for the all-in for the kill. 2 big CCs led by the tanks. Lamb's Respite is clutch. 3 members inside it there for the heal, but I get amongst and say thank you very much. We'll take that one as well. Hex Flash has done enough. There is the wallbox for him to regen as Jovi. Of course it's always Jovi. He always looks for those aggressive plays. And despite dying, claims a triple.
Triple kill secured for the Corki there, so that's really big. You're gonna, boost his the items that he's already had. He's so far ahead of the clock, but already has 3 items completed at the 23-minute mark. Gonna be the Baron started for Ion. This should be a very easy objective pick up for them, and they're gonna, get this objective. If they were, trying to min-max, they would wait until Jovi spawned, but that is a very long time away, and, the potential that Direwolves could regroup up and find them here. But secure this objective, reset as a team, and come back on the map and really look to close out this game. But I think, look at this replay, Stimmy, we get to see the power of the Kindred. They bought so much time for this team. A lot of the members would have fallen down, but this was the choke that was, everything for them. The True Shot Barrage, the Shockwave doesn't find the members it needs to, and this just means that the carries of Ion are unleashed to just go forward like Jovi does right here.
Yeah, led them into a choke spot, made it ever too easy for Leona and a Sejuani to flourish, and then the carries just simply had to right-click attack. He can't really ask for much more than that. As you mentioned, Jovi unable to be a participant with that Baron buff, despite having all the gold in the game. Styx and Doraemon could only dream of being as fed as he is.
That is a very, very fed Yordle, and Yordles are just OP this season. Like, every single...
They are.
Not all of them, but majority of them are, S tier in their own respective roles. Especially the one side has more Yordles this game, right? So we see Ziggs and Corki, and it's just the difference in draft.
It's unbeatable. And look, my love for Yordles all began from TFT. It's not going to stop anytime soon because they're meta. Doraemon gives them a bit of an opportunity to say, you may just be able to shut me down. I'm 001, but I can still get shut down, and it's Mayfun of all people that gets that gold, which is really big for him. He needs that second item, and he needs it now. The Baron Siege continues. Still 2 minutes in which Direwolves need to endure. You've got 6 scrubs, you've got Baron-spied minions, and you've got these structures that just melt like butter.
Ion shouldn't feel too afraid to continue the siege, right? With that Call of the Forge World being on cooldown, that's that major backline threat being removed from the game. So as long as they respect their opponents and play their range advantage, they can continue the siege, they can continue to break these obstructions. But there's also like, you can take the path of least resistance, right? You do not need to flip the game still. You can just base, wait for your top lane to be back on the map, and secure the guaranteed win.
Yeah, it looked to me as if they looked to try and test the water there with both the Sejuani and Leona ult being thrown out. Nothing to connect of it. All right, that's it. We'll go back to base and live to fight another day. So they've opened up the inhibitor in the bot lane. It survives on what I want to say about 10%. But they definitely found an avenue in which they can pursue then to close out the game if another big team fight were to occur.
Yeah, and leaving the inhibitor up is completely fine. If they did kill that one, that is going to be a wave that they, or a side lane that they are no longer able to farm, because there is no Baron that's going to spawn for them to be able to take. They still have the buff on, or the buff will not be respawning for a very, or quite a while, 2 or 3 minutes, I believe. So they have to, still focus on securing as much gold and experience as they can, and having that wave on the side lane still being a farm objective for themselves, and allowing Doraemon to stack a wave, walk that one into the bot side of the map while they are on the top side as Jovi.
Uh-oh, Jovi, that's not where you want to be. And that's, yet again, another moment for Mayfun to strike. That's 2 from 2 when it comes to the shutdowns now. And it did allow him to pick up the Kraken Slayer as well, when you're starting to think this is a dicey game. Yes, you're so far ahead as Ion. You keep giving these ones away and you flirt with danger.
Probably about 10 more of those, and I'd say that this game state is, back in a playable position for Direwolves. But we are seeing a lot of these big items being completed for the, the carries on Direwolves. See the Death Cap being completed in the pocket of Emphis. We see the 2 items on the Ezreal, 2 items on the Kindred, 2 items on the Ornn. The ornaments are starting to come forward as well. So as we see, pretty much consider it every time you see a level on Ornn from this point, 1,000 gold goes towards the team. So, minus 1,000 gold off the gold lead right now, based on every level after 13 for the Ornn. So that's just really nice to see that they do have 2,000 gold that is being minimized from that gold lead. And the Witch's Hat, I believe, is the the unique upgrade for the Death Cap on Emphis right now.
Oh, look at you knowing your lore about all these ornaments. I just say that's the upgraded Rabadons, and everyone understands what I mean. You love to see that one. I suppose in the same vein, Styx has picked up the Magi's. He said, you know what, the Dark Seal's not enough. I want a cheap item spike. I've already got myself the components working towards that Zhonya, so I have that stasis effect now. Not going to be anywhere near as easy to shut down as I may have been before. But I think, like you mentioned also, the path of least resistance, they have such a strong lead. Why throw it all away, knowing that these shutdowns are simply what gets Direwolves back in it?
And another way to say that is just discipline, and we really want to see that from Ion. I think that was, you know, one of the biggest downfalls in the regular season was just the lack of discipline and the fact they would continue to engage, play aggressive when they just were on the wrong timers. And I think that this is also another case of discipline when we see both solo laners dying on the same place on top side because they aren't waiting for the rest of their team to be on the map to respond to a potential gank on that member to, you know, either collapse or trade an objective in response. But TP going up from Doraemon.
It's beautiful. Drag 3 members top side, say see you later, TP bot, and say what's going to happen in mid lane. You're confused, and we are too, because we're just going to win the game on macro alone.
Katsuri is doing a lot of damage here, but Doraemon onto that inhibitor. There is no one to really respond unless they have to group up and put 2 members to deal with him. Very easy disengage for himself though, but ooh, that hurts.
That hurts. That is a chunk. You need more than a plaster and a band-aid for that one. That is a broken leg and some. He's back to base, healing up as quickly as he can, but he's going to return to a home and a base that is looking very much worse for wear. Only 1 inhibitor remains now. That's in the top half of the map, but that's exactly where I want to go next.
Yeah, that's 2 inhibitors down, and also a very underrated change for this season, Skinny, for majors in particular, is that, you know, team-wide buff that you get by. I'll hold my point as Mayfun.
Oh no. The Satchel Charge was nearly GCD perfect, knocking him out of that Lamb's Respite, but everything
Shockwave!
on it. What a shockwave onto 3! The Zhonya's, it's fantastic! Hex Flash goes in, buys some crucial time, Stick Slashes out to safety, but Chongi knocks him up. No, he doesn't, the Satchel Charge again! Ziggs mechanics, can you believe it? Doraemon says, what on earth is happening to my team? We've traded 1 for 3, goes in with the Cho'Gath Chomp, and removes Mayfun from the game, make it a double. We said, who could deal with Camille? Apparently, no one.
And, you know, what a performance from Daiwas. It looked like a very closed out fight, but we didn't even notice that Doraemon was not participating in that one. He was on that side lane split pushing because that's the power of the comp, right? You drag a lot of members to the team, you create so much time for this Camille to have free time with the towers and almost finds a Nexus turret, but decides to pick himself up that double kill instead. As we do go into the replay, this is the Kindred, you know, buying time with that Lance Respite, almost knocked out with that Session Charge, as you did mention, but what a shockwave from Emphis onto, you know, 3 members, huge follow-up engage, huge two-shot barrage, but it's still such a close fight just based on the gold lead that the side of Ion has right now.
Yeah, you can see in the end there, Katsuri thinking he had free reign, but he's just getting peppered by Jovi in the meantime. It really was a case of trading as much as you can, and then somebody just quickly looking at the minimap, where was the Camille? Hang on a minute, they're inside our base, quickly sprint back. And in another timeline, I almost feel like Doraemon just 1v15s there.
And that is going to be the Baron picked up for Ion as we come out of the replay. The Affinity Edge completed as well. The Zhonya's completed 4 sticks, so now there is, you know, no Shockwave will land onto sticks if he does press that outplay button. The damage that Zerbi is outputting right now is insane, and Doraemon is working towards, you know, the Valiant Angel as well. So all members or all carry members of the side of Ion are extremely strong. And, you know, maybe that was Daiwa's last minute to attack the game, but we have to see if they can really, you know, outplay these skirmishes coming forward.
There goes the True Shot Barrage. There is the Call of the Forge God. How much effect, how much success? Not much at all. And now this is Iron trying to jump back in again, but I say it again, deja vu! 2-man combo into the Magnet Storm one more time. You're thinking, how on earth do Direwolves keep getting away with these dream AoE situations? Doraemon says, I'll finish what I started, take 1 Nexus turret, and keep the anxiety brewing inside the Wolf Camp. Just thinking, well, if we're winning the team fights, we've always got to know, track this Camille.
And even though Direwolves keep hitting these absolute wombo combos in these fights that are, you know, they need to find these huge engages or else they are not winning these team fights at all. Even though they are winning these fights, there is a Camille on the side lane always making sure they're losing something every time they go forward and engage. But once again, you know, the Ornalt hits onto sticks and we see Katsuri go forward to try to do some damage. Ion want to find that respective trade, but once again, another Shockwave and another huge Rel engage. We're never seeing Shinki being the one to proactively engage. It is Emphis constantly finding these Shockwaves and then a follow-up from the rest of these teams. So that's just nice, really nice play from Emphis to have the foresight or the teamfight presence to find these members consistently.
They certainly do. Iron yet again say we have so much control of the map. All that great work in the early game for you to try and stack up these dragons is for nothing. 3 Ocean Drakes to their name. And I think, Tally, even if we're not a big fan of the Ocean these days after all the copious nerfs, I'm sure 4 back-to-back feels pretty nice.
Yeah, and I was trying to mention that a really nice change this season for the control mages and the mages in general in particular is that these champs don't have sustain, right? And one of the biggest problems in mid-game, you know, when you are doing these camps, when you are farming sideways, you get chipped down, you lose a lot of health. So that team-wide red buff that, you know, sustain you do get out of combat, and the fact that they do have, you know, that was 2 Ocean Dragons, but now 3. Styx has a lot of sustain when that red buff does die, you know, out of combat, can trade a bit of poke and then just, you know, heal it back up. Over time, it's kind of sort of a mini Warmogs for himself right now.
You can't argue with that when you've got 2 Warmogs already completed by your main frontline champions. But the question continues, who deals with Doraemon? He draws the attention, he actually cops the Cho'Gath fault, rather an all-not. He's the Cho'Gath fault himself, and does he get a chance to utilize it? There is the Sterix, there is the passive, the shielding is out of this world, and he only wants one thing, kill Mayfarm, but he says no. Yet another shutdown going into his pockets, and a Shockwave this time, 3 from 3, better luck next time. That's going to open up the final structure inside the base of Direwolves, as these inhibitors in bot and mid will respawn, but this one is about to fall.
Clears the wave out with that Shockwave though, so unfortunately he was trying to buy time for that tower to survive, but that one was chipped down too much, so that is going to be the pickup for Ion. But every single time there is a proactive play from Direwolves, there is a trade on the side of Ion. You know, last time it was Doraemon backdooring the base, but this time Doraemon getting spaced out by Mayfarm with all those stacks he has right now. And then he falls down, which in tandem, Ion trade that inhibitor on the top side of the map. But teleport.
This is a little bit scary. Actually, might be scary. Oh, what happened to Emphas? He's like, watch this, guys. I've got them. I'm dead. Well, there you have it. Styx was the focus. He was the bait. And the ones actually worked in their favor. There is everything. Magnet Storm being alluded out. Styx knows no fear. He simply does not care. Satchel Charge to knock it back and take Flash's hands. He drops the Solar Flare. The TP this time from Ion. They say enough is enough. Let's put this game to rest. Hook shot across the wall. Full Spider-Man cosplay as Doraemon takes that Katsuri. And this one should be the ace of all aces. The conclusion to this game. The conclusion tally to this whole series.
And that will be the game over for Ion. What a performance, what a draft that has come out of them. A different look. You know, I really, really like what they have prepared this time. You know, I think this enables their, you know, 2 main players, which is Zerby and Doraemon. But, you know, this will be the last time we do see Direwolves, and I think this was a valiant effort from them. I think they played really well in this series overall, and they had a different look. You know, Chungy mentioned that this was... they felt more confident with this new identity they have, but, you know, unfortunately this was not enough against such a strong side like Ion.
No, it certainly wasn't. Looked good, looked great, but wasn't enough to beat that of Ion. What is Styx cooking up this time?
What's he doing?
Oh, hang on. He's checking the closet. Ah, there we go. Back onto the bed. Lean back, relax. Look, mate, you've earned it. That Ziggs at the very end certainly had to run for its life. We saw both sides of Jovi finally punished, finally made to feel a little bit uncomfortable, but when he's on his best, he's firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, that was just the overall, you know, I think really good performance from Ion and a nice look. And I mentioned it before, but I'm really curious to see who they're going to go up against, you know, coming up in those future series, Gimme, and I can't wait to see more of the playoffs overall.
That's the one there, Tally. That is the one. Ion will be the team advancing through the lower bracket, anticipating, okay, who do they have to verse? And that's going to come in our next series with Antic up against Fury. But we'll break down all of this action right after this quick break.